Good afternoon, buenas tardes. This is Dr. Renteria, just giving a Facebook update on some issues that tribal members have called me or emailed me on. The first one I want to bring up is the issue of boosters. Right now, the only booster that's been approved for certain populations is the Pfizer. And if you think you qualify, just contact our nursing department and they'll go over that with you. There has been no decision yet made on the Moderna and Johnson & Johnson. There's been a lot in the news and discussion about it, but it still hasn't been officially decided by the CDC. You might have heard in the newspapers that it was approved, but if it was only by the Food and Drug Administration, but that's a recommendation that goes to the Center for Disease Control. And once they approve it, then we will be told through Indian Health Services how to go about that and what the procedure is. So that's all the information I have on boosters for right now. The other issue is vaccines for children. Pfizer has put in a request to have the CDC approve their vaccine for children. There has been a lot of discussion on this, and I'm hoping a decision is made by no later than the beginning of December. I believe it's going to be favorable for the Pfizer vaccine. For Moderna and Johnson & Johnson, I don't know when that will be approved. So right now the department is preparing for, hopefully if it's approved for Johnson & Johnson so we can vaccinate children, we're preparing for that for hopefully early December. And as soon as we get information again from Indian Health Service, I will relay that to the community. One of the things I wanted to share with you, we have about 95% of our tribal employees now that are vaccinated, and we still test them on a routine basis. And what we have found with the Delta virus, because it's more aggressive, there have been some what you hear or was referred to as breakthrough cases. What is interesting about those is that for the breakthrough cases, by far the majority, very high percentage, those folks are having very mild symptoms. They're not ending up in the hospital. They're able to recover very quickly. That's still not true for the unvaccinated folks. So what we're seeing is that, again, even if you have a COVID case and you're vaccinated, it's very mild. Whereas if you're unvaccinated, those folks are still getting serious complications and having to seek medical care outside of their doctor's office and ending up sometimes in the hospital. So that's definitely a pattern we've seen, and I wanted to share that with you. The other concept I wanted to bring out was infections in children. The Delta virus, that is the main variant here in Tucson, is definitely being more aggressive in children. We're seeing more children actually who get ill enough that they go to the hospital. What I wanted to point out is that when the hospitals here in Tucson have no further beds for kids, some of the children will have to be sent up to Phoenix. I know there have been some cases of that already. And the reason I bring that up is because we haven't talked a lot about it, but I think it's very important to start talking about it, is that really the children don't have a say in this. We have to have parents really think about how you're exposing your children and what could happen. So really what I'm saying is just make really good decisions of where you want to take your kids when you're leaving your house and how they may be exposed, because their infection really depends on the risk you're taking for them. And we're seeing more cases of children being ill than obviously the first time around a year ago. So please consider that when you're making decisions of taking your children outside the home. The last message I want to point out is that there's been a lot of discussion at council of what to do this year for Halloween. Last year we didn't have house-to-house trick-or-treating. The focus with the Alpha variant at that time was more infections in adults. But again, with the Delta variant that's affecting more children, obviously it's even more important of what to do for this year. So today at our council meeting, the council voted that there will be no house-to-house trick-or-treating on the reservation. There will be alternative events planned with a focus on children. And this information will be coming out as soon as possible. But that decision was made just less than an hour ago, so we wanted to get the message out to the community as soon as possible. I know this is not what a lot of people want to hear, but the reality is that we even have to be more careful with what happens with kids, and that they're being more effective with the current Delta variant. Thank you for listening. We will have, as the different departments, send out information on what's being planned for kids again as soon as possible, so you'll know what's going on the reservation. Thank you for listening.